Hey, hello, hello. How's it going? How's it hanging? How's your life? Tell me the deets. Are the kids still saying deets? I don't know. Has arrived. Hello, Sammy. Hello, Death Angels. Welcome in, welcome in. King Maglet, welcome in. Not seeing the chats cross over to YouTube. Strange. Usually I know that the chats cross over from YouTube to Twitch. I have never haven't confirmed whether they do the same the opposite way. They're saying skibbity toilet. Dang it. Dang it. Missed my chance to be hip and with it. And what now? I have to say skibbity toilet? Back in my day, yeah, Maglet, back in my day we said skibbity doodah. I'm pretty sure, I think. Hey, you plaid rocker, hello, hello. Phantom, welcome in. Sundance, it is good to see ya. Sweeper, AZ, Maglet, Death Angel Shadow, and Sweeper were in the early crew, and Sammy was in the early crew on Instagram as well. Welcome in. Welcome to the time. Welcome to the show. We are going to read today, I swear. I swear on my honor. I swear on your honor. I swear on your life. We're going to read today. In fact, let me actually, I'm not going to change that yet. Okay. I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to see you. I do want to warn you, if we do meet at GaryCon again, you're at risk of me saying you're my friend. Dude, I've been saying it. Can I be your friend, please? We could just be buddies and be at the con together. I would be very, very excited. Anyone and everyone that comes to hang out at GaryCon is automatically my friend. So, speaking from experience, Grace gives the best hugs. Oh man, that's actually the best thing you could have ever told me. I don't do any of that half hug bullshit. You hear? I don't know why I just stared dead-eyed right into the camera. But we don't do any half hugs. We commit in this house, you know? We commit. We do a full hug. Hey, new type, welcome in. Good to see you. Look forward to having more energy for hanging with people at GaryCon this coming year. The energy depletes fast at these cons, and there is no shame in that. By the end of Gen Con, I was completely dead on my feet. It was almost a little bit of a hazard on the road. Almost. But we had a good time. It was fun. I just love that I got there and boom, there you were. I never in a million years would have expected to just run into you, and it was one of the highlights of that trip. It was awesome. I'll be at Game Hole, my first real con. Sundance! So will we. Come say hi. The best thing ever about being at cons is meeting people from Twitch. That's the best part about being at cons. 1,000,000 kajillion %. It's so much fun to like put a face to the username and like actually get to like meet you, and if you like hugs, give you a hug, and if not, maybe like an elbow bump or a fist bump, something like that is awesome. So definitely come say hi. Being there for Founders and Legends and GaryCon was too much. I wanted to go to Founders and Legends. But that would have been problematic just for like travel plans and stuff. But I can totally see how that would be like a little bit rough, run out of steam by the end. I have a lot of expensive hobbies, and lately it seems I'm replacing car parts every trip out of town I take. Oh no. Well, hey, are cars one of those expensive hobbies? Because it's a good time to get interested in cars, is what it sounds like. The problem with hugs is that you can't get any tongue in with it. You're a freak. You're a freak. Wee woo, police. We have a freak here. Also, I'm not used to my microphone working, so if I'm like blowing out your ears, I apologize. Just let me know, and I'll tune it. I'll tune it down. Turn it down. Tune it back. Soul crushing. I can't be a game hole this year. I'm more mad about it than you are. I promise. I'm so mad. Oh, it would be so much fun. God, we played Blood on the Clock Tower last year, right? Or was that at Gary Con? That was at Game Hole. No.
Yeah.
It was?
It was a game hole.
Yes! Okay. Yes. My better half has confirmed it. Transmission last month in Huntsville. Alternator last Saturday on my way to Nashville. Oh, man. That's a bummer. You could just make up words and I would be like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you can get another one. Yeah, my carbonara is upside down. And yeah, can't drive on it. Gotta get it replaced. Not going to make it to Game Hole this year. I will have to go out without my Grace hug this year. Willie, why? Just drop all of your obligations. drop every commitment in your life to be there. Why not? We will gather lots of stories to tell, and we'll see you at the next one, I hope. But I swear to God, we're here to read. Okay, I'm going to force us to transition because we've gone 2 weeks without reading a single thing. We're not doing it again. We're gonna read, I swear. Okay, I'm putting chat here. I'm putting words here. I came because the game title in the title was new to me, but I soon learned that you're a tabletop RPG maker, which made me even more interested for lore reasons. Marcus, you've come to the right place if you're wanting lore. I used to have the map of the world that we published behind me. I don't anymore because we just moved. But the world setting that we publish is called Aihrde, like the German word for Earth, Aihrde, but spelled in a fantasy way. And it has 12,000 years of in-game history that is detailed in the Codex of Aihrde, which is what we're kind of picking stories out of and reading today. So much lore. The most ever. And because this is Troll Lord Games, I thought it would be only fitting to read about the coming of the trolls and the origin of the trolls in the world of Aihrde. So that's what we're going to start with today. And after that story, sorry y'all. After that story, we will either just continue through the book or we'll pick a different story and we'll see where it goes. Troll Lord Games rocks! Freaking rocks! Is this a good lore place? Insta-subbed on YouTube, not a tabletop role-playing game player. Nobody to play with, I don't think, but lore is my drug. This is a good lore place. If you've come for lore, I got the hookup. You've come to the place for lore. Come here every Monday at this time, and we will be here doing this. So thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about the game that we publish, I actually started a little like how to play Castles and Crusades series on YouTube. So definitely check us out. Hey, Kawaii Misters, welcome in, and Glitch. Oh my God. 2 old friends. How are y'all doing? Is that setting available anywhere or is it not completely finished? It is completely finished. Oh, it is so finished. Hang on. Well, actually, let me amend that. It's never finished because you have to add your story to Aihrde. Let me grab the link for it super fast. The fastest. So fast. Oh my God. So fast. So quickly I'm grabbing this book. Oh my God. Aihrde. Show me the Codex of Aihrde. Oh my God. Okay, hang on. Here we go. Okay. The Codex of Aihrde is a book that you can purchase on Troll Lord Games. It's beautiful. I love the cover. It's one of my favorite Troll Lord game covers ever. Real question, what's your Halloween costume? Oh my god, we haven't talked about that.
I was kind of thinking. I just want another excuse to wear the Ren Fair gear, so I'm kind of just.
Let's just be medieval peons.
I don't think you can talk about that.
Why not? I want to be a peon.
You want to be peed on?
I want to be a peon. We'll be people.
That sounds great.
Yeah, we'll wear our
I
cloaks.
just want to wear my cloak.
We will take any excuse to wear our cloaks. It's a good time. So that's probably it. We'll probably just dress up like medieval people.
I mean, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
See if we get excited about anything else.
We'll sidebar.
Sidebar.
Shit.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs
With cloaks.
with cloaks. Dinosaurs in cloaks. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to learn how to play. I just want to learn the lore. Hell yeah, dude. I respect that so much. The setting is like system neutral, so you can just enjoy it as lore, and there's no like gamey language in there to like get in the way, you know, if you're not trying to play a game. Grace's personal lore also goes back 12,000 years. I could tell you stories. Definitely picking that up on my next paycheck. Now I know it's available. It's awesome. It's a great book. I don't do Halloween anymore, but definitely something sci-fi related, like maybe an N7 Spectre outfit. Oh, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. Oh man, to be like Commander Shepard.
Yeah, that would be sick.
That would be kind of fucking awesome.
I'm learning the Mass Effect lore.
Nick is playing through Mass Effect for the first time ever, so no spoilers. The Codex is pure lore for the world. It's a campaign setting for a game, but is not the game itself. Exactly. So you can read the book, and it won't feel like a game book, you know? Do you know the top of your head when GaryCon is happening? I so don't. I'm so sorry. March? End of March? Yeah. That sounds right.
It's usually like 23rd through the 25th. Is that right?
Maybe.
It's something like that.
Something like that.
There's some 2s in there.
There's some 2s in the date. Just realized I don't need to double duty on YouTube because they can see our chat there too. Technology. But Phantom, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for being here. Thank you for modding. I super appreciate your presence. It's always a little bit, because we've had some nights get a little bit out of hand, and just having you here is a huge comfort for me. So I appreciate you. Thank you. I don't know if I ever thanked you, so I want to make sure I do that. Nowadays, I'm only interested in Halloween for classic horror movies like The Birds, Rocky Horror Picture Show, and anything Vincent Price, and maybe Night of the Living Dead. I love Rocky Horror Picture Show. Can't do horror movies. They're scaly. Wait a minute. I've been bamboozled. Gadzooks. We were gonna read, and you used the sultry wiles of Halloween to get me on a different subject. Johnny Omaha, thank you so much. Tonight's audio, by the way, is sponsored by Johnny Omaha, who helped me figure out my entire life, and also this microphone. And now it sounds like real sounds, and not real sounds. And 90% of the problem was that the microphone is backwards, and I'll never stop talking about that because I think it's hilarious. I didn't realize that you could have a microphone be backwards and have that be a problem. So, thank you, Johnny Omaha, for your service. Watch the WNUF Halloween special. It's a fake news broadcast of a local news station. What? Oh no, WNUF. Okay. Jeremy, let me ask you. Is it scary? Be honest. I can't do scary. Yeah, not all mics are omnidirectional. Egg on my face. Am I right? It's Cujo. It's not scary. It just makes me emotional because of the dog himself. Oh, buddy. I don't want to see dogs in bad situations. I want to see dogs in delightful situations. If you're a 4-year-old, I guess. Don't underestimate how wimpy I am about horror. It's basically a spoof. That sounds like fun. I'll probably check that out. We're gonna do pumpkin carving, making a fall picnic, Halloween movie. We gotta do a stream with all those things. I think that'd be fun. Do you have anything planned for the month of October, Halloween related? We've got some vague to-dos on our list. Pumpkin carving. We want to find a corn maze and go to it.
Cider.
We're gonna drink cider. A lot of cider. There's a really, really awesome cider place nearby. Maybe we'll start a fire. You can just do that anywhere.
Vague threats of arson. Yeah.
He said vague threats of arson, and there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. Too busy to do Halloween regularly, but I do listen to the War of the Worlds radio broadcast as something of an annual tradition. Nice. You can always watch Marley and Me. Don't play with me. I want to do a fairy house out of a pumpkin. Wait, that's really cute. Like a fairy house out of a pumpkin?
That sounds awesome.
That's something that my mom and I used to do, was make fairy houses. Okay, we're getting off topic.
And we're gonna roast pumpkin seeds.
We're gonna roast pumpkin seeds. That's a big one. Yeah. May I recommend Friskies up near to Traverse? You may. Friskies? I'm writing it down. Friskies. Hell yeah. Okay. We're gonna read. I'm reading now. I swear to God, we haven't read a word in 2 weeks. We're in a chat. We're in a slump. Nick's laughing because okay, small sidebar and then we'll start reading. I think it's the funniest thing in the world to just in your everyday, like day-to-day life, talk to chat. So like we'll be driving and like either miss an exit or take a wrong turn and be like, just to nobody, chat, I think we're lost. Chat, I don't know where the objective is. Chat, is this even real?
Chat, see what I gotta put up with.
Chat, do you see what I'm having to put up with right now? Chat, this is frankly ridiculous. It's one of my favorite bits.
Chat, I don't know how anyone can be expected to endure this.
Chat, I don't know how I'm supposed to read about trolls at a time like this. So take that into, I imagine that gets old really fucking fast. Not if you're me. Turns out, if you're me, jokes get funnier the more you say them.
Chat, I'm just a guy.
Chat, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy, chat. I'm just a man with needs. That's all I am, chat. All right. I swear to God, I swore on your life earlier. Your collective. Wow. Now you? Et tu, trouble? Come here. Come here, come here, come here. One more moment, and then I swear we're starting. Okay.
How about I close the windows?
That would be great, if you don't mind. We have a boy, and we have a story to tell, and we have a song in our heart and a dream in our other heart. That's the bestest boy. Oh, you did the bestest boy. He's so handsome. So you talk to chat when chat isn't even there? Yes. Here's the thing. I think it's funny because I never address, like when I'm like streaming like this, I never generally just like refer to chat. I never, because you're all individuals watching. And so I respond to like everybody individually. It feels like the most detached thing ever to me when streamers like talk to chat as if it's like an entity. But, you know, there are some streamers that have like thousands of people, and they just, people say that, so I don't need to mansplain the joke. I don't know why I'm doing that. Bean! Hello! How are you? It's a pleasure to see you. Hello, hello. Let Trouble read the story. He has a great voice. Oh, puppy, do you want to read about the trolls? I can read it in the voice that we assign Trouble. The coming of the trolls. Ugh.
Basically a plant.
It's basically like a plant. Blah. So basically there was this guy named Ineng. And he was the very first troll because he was a tree first. But he was like an evil tree, like a bad tree, because all plants, blah, plants are bad. So there was this tree named Ineng. Dang. Oh no, I had perfume on. He's rubbing his face on the ground. Anyway. I beg of you. Get yourself a cozy beverage. Put on like a warm sweater or something. Be cozy. Become cozy. And we are going to read a story. Thank you for being here. Cholza. I'm reading chat. I'm not going to say anything. Because that's what good streamers do. They don't look at chat and they railroad the experience. The coming of the trolls. Ineng was one of the Will Eloth. He stood as an equal amidst the first grove that grew at the feet of the fence, that is, the Marl Mountains. An oak of unbelievable size, he towered over his companions and marveled at what he could see. In time, he climbed to the top of a high ridge to see the wide world. Where the sun rose, he saw a massive mountain chain that tumbled up into the sky in layer after layer of rocky ridges. Where the sun set, he could see a vast, sprawling plain of deep, deep grass. The grass went as far as he could see, and the earth there called to him, promising deeper soil and unspoiled water. Beyond the plains were slim slivers of shimmering light, scores of them, which he learned were lakes of life-giving water. Ineng drifted from his grove, wandering down the slopes, his rooted feet cutting up the earth and finding new passage. For context, for anyone who isn't familiar with this, Ineng is one of a race of sentient trees. The first trees in Aihrde were these sentient beings. So, just so that's clear. I know we called him an oak earlier, but that kind of thing goes above my head all the time. But a voice beckoned him back. He stopped and cast his awareness toward the voice, for it was deep and made him thirsty for something he could not grasp. I'm also going to turn the music down a little bit, sorry. It was the voice of Aihrde, the Allfather, and it promised him knowledge. So, Ineng stood and listened. He stood apart from the grove and absorbed all that Aihrde had to say. The sisters, that is, the sun and moon, came and went countless times. The seasons rolled past. Ineng's leaves fell and returned time and time again, while Aihrde spoke. And all those in the grove learned what he had to say. Ineng learned the language of creation, which is the language of all things. And he learned of the world, the void, and all things besides. At last, Aihrde finished speaking, and settled into the cool shade of the grove and enjoyed the company of the Aivorgan for a long while. The Aivorgan are that race of trees. As the seasons passed, Ineng watched Aihrde sleep, but in time he grew curious and wandered from the grove and down the slope so that eventually he found himself upon the plain, far from his fellows. The other of Worgen took notice after a while, and they called to him, but he did not answer them, for in his mind's eye stood only the image of the water that he had seen before, and he was thirsty. He uprooted himself again and began his slow, ponderous movement across the world, traveling to the long, deep furrows of the lakes, which, in after times, were called the Channel Lakes. There, he satiated himself with the cool waters for many years. He stood alone and grew to think of the land as his own, and he watched over it. He turned the water in its course, and he drew so much from the soil that it withered, and the grasses around him died. The water receded before him so that he had to follow it, and when he did so, he killed more of the grasses, and behind him stretched a black path of death. In time, other of Worgen came to him, and he swayed and moaned so that they knew he did not desire their company. Thinking no ill will, they wandered on, for the world was wide. But, unbeknownst to Inang, the of Worgen were growing in number. As the years passed, new breeds of the tree folk sprouted, and some took root and others wandered. Eventually, more of Worgen came to these lakes, and he could not dissuade them. Until at last they came close, and he sought to turn the soil barren beneath them. He sucked the nutrients out of it and made it like sand, keeping his neighbors from any food. Some of the trees died for his greed, and many of them fled. But some remained, angered by his claim to the lake country. They entered the waters and drank deep there, drawing the land around him and stretching their shadows beyond their own form. They blocked the sun and Inang's light, but Inang refused to leave, suffering their attack. He grew tired and shabby. His bark peeled away, and he began to die. At last, overwhelmed with the need for sustenance, he fled the lakes and moved into the western lands that were barren and hot. I'm just gonna do that. He wandered for long years, and his roots grew shallow, his limbs shorter, and his leaves withered, only growing in small bunches. There, on the plains of Akrathos, he lived, steeped in the rage of his own hate. He set about remaking himself then, using the language as taught by Aihrde to shape his roots into legs so that he could move faster, and his limbs into arms. He mimicked the shape of Aihrde, though that one was faceless. So Inang in these early days had no eyes or mouth. So came to be the first of the greater trolls, and though he was not yet evil, he was becoming so, driven by his greed and hunger. Hate and envy drove him as well, for in the barren plains of Akrathos, he was always hungry and thirsty, and he could find no purchase. He was constantly weak, and took to blaming his kindred for his plight, never thinking that it was his greed that set him on this course. And ever has it been thus, that the weak and evil find blame in others for their own words and deeds. One day, Inang gathered himself and strode across the plains, returning to the Channel Lakes. There, he saw a great forest of trees spread along the banks of the waters that were once his. Hey, Riverbend Bear, welcome in. A dark rage took him. With little thought, he picked up a boulder and hurled it, striking a tree in its bole. And the great timber groaned, cracked, and fell to earth. The other of Worgen marveled at this, for they had never seen one of them slain in such a way. They turned on Inang, reaching out with their roots through the ground, sucking the moisture from the earth and bawling out the light. Ineng stood against them for many long years, but he could not overcome them. And he began to wither again, for their shadows were deep, fashioned so by their knowledge of the language of creation. Thus, Ineng fled again into the wilderness. The forest on the channel lakes groaned in triumph, but some few of them broke free of the grove, curious and hungry, filled with greed like Ineng, and they followed him into the wilderness. At first he feared these of Worgen and fled, leaving them behind, but eventually he realized that a lust for the world filled them much as it did he. They gathered for a while, but eventually Ineng left them, longing to have his own country. But they learned from him, and they too shaped themselves as Ineng and wandered through the world. Thus, the race of trolls came to be, and they were as lords over all that came after. There is so much more to the story of Ineng, and the rest of that story is written in a short fiction tale about a character named Meltaug, and I cannot find that story, and I hate it. But that is the beginning, shall we say, of the tale of Ineng, the very first troll in Aihrde. I think the next thing that I kind of want to go into, I know that I've read it before, but I really love the tale of the beginning of the Winter Dark. If you're not familiar with Troll Lord games in general, you'll find that a lot of stuff in our store is called like After Winter Dark. For instance, the Codex of Aihrde, this book is called the Codex of Aihrde After Winter Dark. And the Winter Dark was a period of 1,000 years in which the world of Aihrde was ruled over by a demon god. And the tale of the beginning of this period is a really great tragedy. Next week we'll try to find more like spooky Aihrde stories, but we'll stick to this one for now. Unless while I'm looking for this, if there are any stories from Aihrde that you want to hear instead. That's just an open thing. Always tell me if there's stuff that you want to hear, but kind of just going through the codex for now. Hey, Longshot, welcome in and welcome back for 43 months. God damn. Ooh, okay, I think I found it. Okay. Okay, this is such a good story. Okay. So it all begins with a guy named Trigal the Mage. Oh my god, Phantom, welcome back from month 39. God damn. And thank you for the hype train. Choo choo. Am I right, gamers? Thank you all so much. I know that I always say this anytime I'm on camera when this happens, but we never ever expect people to like monetarily support the Twitch channel. We just kind of view it as like a community space where we can all like be together and talk and stuff. And so when people do go out of their way to like subscribe or donate bits or whatever, it means the most to us. It's crazy. Every time it happens, it kind of blows our minds. So thank you so much. We super appreciate that support. Thank you. As always, feel no pressure to do anything like that, but thank you very much for doing it. We must learn about the rise of the gnomes and why they are Davis and Steven's favorite race. I think I know why. I think Davis told me why. I think it's because of like the garden gnome thing, I thought. I think we talked about it before, and he said it was because gnomes, garden gnomes, are not badass and not adventurers. And I say poo-poo to that. I'm sure it was actually much more of like a good reason, like much more eloquently stated than I just did. That's the barest bit of what I remember about the conversation. But yeah, so the winter dark begins anyway. Going back to a time of terrible, terrible war and tragedy and loss and grief in Aihrde. The winter dark began with a man named Trigal the Mage. It began with one man's selfishness. So that is where we will begin this tale of woe. Evil has ever plagued the lands of Aihrde, and perhaps most of all in the Cobbler's Age. This is the time period that came just before the winter dark. During the long death of the empire, the emperors employed a host of magi, priests, scribes, and sages. They worked to further the ends of the emperors, or to unravel the mysteries of the sorcerers of old. One such was the magi Trigal. He served under many emperors, but did not rise to prominence until the reign of Marcus IV, just prior to the Festival of Clowns. In 449 OY, he secured from the emperor the letters necessary to found the White Order, a guild of wizards dedicated to unearthing the antiquities of the dwarves and delivering them to the notice of the emperor's household. Trigal trained men and women, nobles, craftsmen, merchants, and peasants in the art of sorcery. At first, many traveling magi, practiced wizards and the like, joined the order. But in time, Trigal focused a great deal of attention on finding young apprentices, taking them in and molding them in his image. And he set these on secret paths of his own design. Above all, he sent them in search of the rune lore of the dwarves, for he sought the language of creation. In the beginning, the White Order delivered many priceless items to the emperor and expanded the knowledge of the ancient craft of sorcery, and the empire benefited thereby. Did you say you were looking for the Coming of the Trolls? No, I was looking for, it's a separate document. I don't even remember the name of it. It's a different short story about a character named Meltaug, who we will hear a little bit about in the story. But that story, I believe, is not published anywhere, and it's a different document. But thank you. I appreciate you. Trigal remained in the employ of the imperial staff into the reign of Marcus VI. During those days, he led magi on journeys into the uttermost west, even to the feet of the first dwarven kingdoms and the seven swamps. What wild adventures he had there, and how he had knowledge of the dwarf realms, few remember. It is known, however, that when he came back from one such ill-fated adventure, he did so with foolishly empty hands, for he also left the emperor's nephew in a cold grave on the other side of the world. Enraged, Marcus had the Magus seized. He ordered the emperor's watch to occupy his tower and sent his agents to learn Trigal's purpose in ancient Gorthorog. My sister's son is dead and left abandoned on the far side of the world. I cannot bring him home, but I'll know the purpose of his fall. The Emperor's watch occupied Trigal's tower and soon unearthed a wealth of knowledge, long hidden from the Emperor. It came to light that Trigal was not a simple mage or adventurer, but a powerful sorcerer who had allies in many realms beyond the mortal, and that he possessed powers beyond the understanding of his peers. Many of Trigal's students were seized and tortured, and they revealed that the Magus's work was vast, and much of it was conducted in secret, with only a chosen few enjoying the knowledge of his labors. His true purpose had been to understand the dwarven rune lore, lost to all the world but for a few. But even more than that, he sought to master the sorcery of Onluk, the goblin lord. In particular, he sought to understand the sorcery that allowed the Allfather to pass from Aihrde and to the void. All of this came to light and discomforted the Emperor. Marcus spent no time condemning Tregall. He took possession of all that the wizard held dear: ancient grimoires of dwarven lore, scrolls, goblin runes, artifacts of the old world. His servants hauled to the Emperor's treasure room. Tregall came before Marcus in chains. "For long years you have served me, my father and his father before him. You have given us wealth and power, though clearly you kept the lion's share for yourself. And for this I name you cursed. Your possessions are forfeit, and you are banished from all the realms of Ainok." He sent Tregall forth, penniless, with nothing but the clothes upon his back. He disbanded the White Order, and those of Tregall's students who resisted him ended their days in the lion pits. He forbade any, on pain of death, to seek out or come to know anything of the runes. Surviving members of the Order scattered far and wide. Some continued their quests alone. Others banded together. Some sought the power for themselves, others for the world. A few banded together to search for Tregall, for they feared what he might do. Hey, history prof, welcome in. So slay. I be like Skibbity Toilet, am I right? For his part, Tregall discarded his name and adopted one more fitting of his designs. He took the name Malazor, a name with no translation in the dwarven tongues of Aihrde nor of the Seven Rivers. It carries the echo of the languages spoken by the denizens of the wretched plains, where it's said that the wizard spent many years. But he was known by other names as well: Mongrel the Troll Lord, Nulak, Begluth, and others. He took up the mantle of a golden robe and bore with him a rod cast in brass but wrapped in dragon skin. Tell me more about the goblins. I love goblins. Okay, we'll get through this chapter, and then if there's time, we'll jump into goblins. Blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, okay, found it. In those days, there was much information stored in the libraries of the dwarven halls. Malazor took the guise of a gnome scholar and gained entry into the deeps of Norgorod Cam, where much of this information remained untouched. He studied there for many long years. His sorcery was such that he fooled even the dwarven Allfathers, at least for a time. When they discovered his identity, they cursed him. In those days, much as today, the dwarves carried a great malice for all sorcerers, for it was the goblin Ondluk and his sorcery that destroyed all that they had loved in ages past. They bound Malazor and branded his hand with an iron from the hall's forge, and named him Begluth, which is Hand of Ash. This mark stayed with Malazor forever, and he bore it with him wherever he went, no matter the guise he took, giving him away more than once. The brand marked him as a thief and a liar and a sorcerer. She's giving young Justin Bieber. Hey, J. Beebs, let's go. The dwarves drove Malazor from the hall, but it mattered little to him, for by then he had more than enough information. He gathered to him a group of stout fellows, rogues, warriors, and a few priests, and he began a trek into the west to return to Gorthorog, the first home of the dwarves, which was, by then, long abandoned. Malazor's long adventures, filled with dreadful deeds, great heroism, and battles with ancient beasts, do not come into these tales, but suffice it to say, the wizard found what he sought in the west. Gorthorog, long abandoned after its destruction in the Goblin-Dwarf Wars, stood like a hollow tomb. Malazor sought after the Mammoth Scrolls, those ancient texts within which the dwarves recorded their own and the world's history. The sorcerer hoped that they might somehow reveal the hidden knowledge of any of the runes, or the obsidian book, or other devices which would lead him to greater power. Though he never found the lost archives where the scrolls were buried, he did find other clues, and dangerous ones at that. The Magus learned that when the dwarf king, Dognor VII, slew Ondluk, he found upon the goblin's broken body a tube of brass, within which were many sheets of brass, with runes from the elder days etched into them. These were the Ondluk Eroan, the runes of Ondluk. Though the king did not know what he possessed, he took them up and bore them into the world. They fell out of history. They fell out of the history of the dwarves when Dognor gave them over to some of his allies. The rune sheets vanished into history, but Malazor also learned of the greater runes, those of the dwarf fathers of old. He set all these runes into schools, what scholars call the Four Pillars, the Arcs of Time, Paths of Umbra, Grey Mist, and others named. Malazor took up his staff once more to quest the world over, seeking the Ondluk Eroan. In time, he recovered these sheets, one after the other. Some found in lost dungeons, others in a lord's possession, and still others discarded as scribble from the elder days. But his mind remained bent upon a particular set of runes, the Paths of Umbra, for these, or so he believed, would allow him to travel through the multiverse. In those days, Malazor's followers spread throughout the world, and with them many of the runes. What Ondluk had once guarded with care, men now used heedlessly. The knowledge of the runes spread, and it deepened the power of the sorcerers, but also gave birth to a new breed of magic, and the first of the rune marks came to Aihrde, a playable class in the Adventurer's Backpack in the store on trollord.com. These were different from the sorcerers or even the wizards, where before the knowledge of the powers of old found release in complicated speech, or understood in complicated spells that were like echo chambers for the language of creation. The rune marks possessed a magic that was much closer to that carefully crafted by the dwarves or goblins of old. Pardon me. Malazor cared not for the rune marks, or use of the runes, nor the power of wizards or men, but rather continued his quest for the Paths of Umbra. In time, he succeeded. But long after many of his old enemies were dead and turned to dust, Malazor unraveled the mystery and found the Paths of Umbra. Oh, buddy. Here's the thing. The thing about that is no. With this discovery in 676 OY of the Paths of Umbra, Malazor gained a power none had possessed for countless years. He reconstituted the White Order and gathered about him a host of... Thank you, Phantom. Appreciate you. He gathered about him a host of sorcerers and wizards. From the paths, Malazor learned the makings of the world, of how the Allfather had created the Val Ericune, the Arc of Time, and the Endless Pools. He learned, too, that many of the Allfather's creations lived as powerful entities, bound to the void for eternity. Malazor learned of one, a dark stain upon the early creation of the world, that even the goblins feared and of which the Red God would not speak. It seemed to be an unmastered power, without thought, or creed or idea of all that had transpired, and the sorcerer wondered at it, for it was a darkness like none he had seen before. We got about like 10 minutes left, so let's stop there and let's just hang. Because I think that's a good cliffhanger for next time if we pick it back up here. That stain without thought or creed or idea of all that had transpired, maybe a little bit more than meets the eye. If you know, you know. Are you back in Michigan now? I am. I'm so happy. The air feels so breathable. It's so good. It feels so good in my nostrils. There's crazy allergies in Tennessee. And we loved Tennessee, obviously. But it's been a good move. Need to make a CD set of you just reading those stories. Man, if y'all want that as like a Kickstarter stretch goal or something, like an audiobook of the Codex, let us know. Because we'll do it. I would happily do this. It would just take some time, but that's fine. I got time. I got hella time. I'm young and I have all the time in the world and I'm gonna live forever, so. Oh, Tracy's in Knoxville. Hey.
Hey, yo.
We love Knoxville. I'm in Tennessee. Hey, nice. How's your breathing?
All these Tennessee peeps.
Or going there tomorrow. Gotcha. I moved here to get away from Florida. Fair. Yeah, bless. Honestly, fair. I used to be immortal too. Hey, what comes next? More immortality, surely. Oh, we're in Texas. I'm sure I'll miss the non-humidity while we're there. Texas really is just like it's like an oven in Texas. It's dry. It's like Arizona too. I do miss Michigan air, always so crisp. It's so good, dude. We've been visiting like northern Michigan a lot, like, you know, in the tip.
Thingies.
We've been in the fingies. Metacarpals,
The pokey bits.
the top ones.
Yeah.
Digicarpals, Digimons, carpal tunnel. The carps. We're up in the carps.
Thingy tips.
The fingy tips. Having a good time. And the air is awesome. Quantum Immortality says that we're all going to live forever. Let's go! Let's go, dude. We're way up north in the desert high plains. After growing up in Chicago and living in northeast Pennsylvania, fully love this weather. That sounds so nice. Oh, that sounds so nice. Petoskey, that's where I'm from originally. Yeah, we've been to Petoskey. That's awesome. That's so cool. I didn't know you're from Petoskey. That is a great town.
Who's from Petoskey?
Glitch the music man.
Dang. It's a great town.
It's a really great town. They have a great lighthouse. We've taken some Polaroid pictures by that lighthouse, and they're some of my favorites. I've got this, like, I'm being plagued by this feeling like I have to sneeze, and I keep not sneezing. Can I look directly at my light, and will it make me sneeze? No, the feeling's gone. But it's still kind of there. Ugh. Don't live each day like it's your last. Live each day like you're gonna live forever. Exactly. Been trying to find some CNC folks around here. Speaking of folks, how's Chuck doing? That area got hit worse than here by the storm. Chuck has been going in and out of power, is my understanding. Everything seems okay otherwise, but just, man, like, not having power is really, 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 really rough. And man, so scary, the stuff that the storm is like doing to the roads and, I mean,
Oh my god.
people's homes. Water damage is scary. Like storms, hurricanes. I would take any kind of natural disaster over any kind of like water thing. Stay away from that. My heathen prayers are with Chuck. Yeah, let's just toss some rotten heathen prayers. That'll help things. The gods will love that. No, we appreciate you. We appreciate all the good thoughts over to Chuck. It's not good. It's not a good situation. So I've told him that if there's an emergency, I will drive there and be there within like 10 hours. But yeah, I think we probably will just go ahead and call it a night. I'm sleepy. So let's go sleep. Who can we raid today? We've got some friends. Some friends that are live. Just taking a look here. Ugh, I have to watch an ad to see what people are doing in their streams. Hey, playing some games, welcome in. Good to see you. We were just about to toss a raid to somebody. Don't let the goblins bite. I am the goblin, mister. Ooh, okay. Yeah, let's go see what our buddy Outlaw is doing. Offbeat Outlaw has been a long time mutual of mine over on To Talk. So let's go show them some love. If you have a moment to spare, it means the most to streamers when people just like hang out for a minute once they raid in and just like say something nice about the stream, interact with their chat, ask a question, say a compliment, make a joke, and that's what I'm going to be doing too. And then we're going to hop off of here and go to bed. But thank you all so much for hanging out here. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat place. And we'll be continuing to read through the onset of the 1,000-year reign of Unklar, the Horned God. And it'll be a great time because the Winter Dark was a famously great time for everybody. So go in peace. Make the words do good. I will see you again next week. And thank you all again and again and again for hanging out.